I'm dehydrating 66 meals for the JMT this summer. To most people, this probably seems like a really crazy statement. Why would you bother dehydrating 66 meals when you can just buy stuff either at a grocery store or at one of the stores along the trail? And I promise I have a good reason. In this video, I'm gonna go over why am I dehydrating 66 of my own meals instead of just buying food. I'm going to go over how I'm dehydrating everything, and then at the end of the video I'm also going to give you my biggest tip that I've learned so far for making your trail food taste good. And honestly, this tip applies to both people who are interested in doing what I'm doing and DIYing all their meals, as well as people who are just going a more traditional route. So let's get into it. I have two big reasons why I'm planning on DIYing all of my packing food for the JMT. The first reason is simple, it's just dietary restrictions. I tragically am lactose intolerant, and while I am a huge enjoyer of pizza and ice cream when I'm at home, I don't mess with that on the trail. Also, for some reason, I just can't eat flour tortillas, so that just cuts down a lot of my dinner options for like commercially available food, and it also means that there's no PB tortillas or tortilla tuna wraps for me. So by making my own food, I'm able to just have a little bit more variety and also make sure that I'm not going to eat something that's going to give me an adverse reaction. The second reason why I'm making all my own food is disappointment. I backpacked the 100-mile wilderness in 2022, and you'd think that backpacking through one of the roughest sections of the AT in Maine would make you pretty hungry. And yeah, I was starving. And there were some meals that were just so terrible that I couldn't eat them. It was really bad. And you know, hunger isn't always the best spice. If I'm gonna be disappointed by food, I'd rather be disappointed by the stuff that I've created instead of something that I have purchased. So you're probably wondering, how am I dehydrating all of this food? The idea of meal prepping 66 meals is incredibly daunting. Works out to 22 breakfasts, 22 lunches, and 22 dinners. We think we'll be hiking for about 21 days, and we always bring a little bit of extra food. When I felt a little overwhelmed by this, I did what every engineer does, and I made a spreadsheet. And in the spreadsheet, I had all of my recipes, I had all of the ingredients, and this helped me figure out like what I wanted to eat per day. And then from there, I was able to distill that down into what ingredients I needed and how much of each ingredient I thought I would need for the trip. This allowed me to streamline my dehydrating process, and this is really important because I have a pretty small dehydrator. I have an Excalibur dehydrator, but it only has 4 trays, so I'm kind of limited in how much food I can dehydrate at a time. So I try to be as efficient as possible, so just to be efficient with the time, because it takes usually 6 to 10 hours for a single dehydrator run. My goals was to use as many ingredients across multiple recipes as possible. So for example, I have a bunch of recipes that use rice as a base. So I've just decided, you know, I like basmati rice the best. I'll just use that for everything. And one thing that I've been making sure to do is, even though I'm using a lot of the same ingredients, I try to use recipes that have different flavor profiles. This helps prevent me from getting bored with my food. And even though I'm using, say, the same core 12 ingredients, everything has a completely different flavor profile and different seasoning, and this just helps to mix things up so that I don't get terribly bored. So what do I do after I've dehydrated all of these ingredients? I store them in mason jars. Mason jars have a couple different sizes. This allows them to be in an oxygen limited environment, so that the food won't go bad. And I just store them in the jars in my pantry until I'm ready to start prepping meals. For dinner, I like to cook my food in the bag. So what I did was I ordered a bunch of Mylar bags off Amazon, and I'll package all the food inside the bag. I'll write like little instructions on the front, and then I'll drop in an oxygen absorber and then heat seal the whole bag. So that way I reduce my risk of spoilage. For breakfast and lunches, breakfast I do a lot of oatmeal, and I'm also workshopping like a granola recipe. So for those, I just package those in Ziploc bags. Lunches are kind of in like a middle area. Right now I'm just planning on doing Ziplocs for lunches as well, because it's mostly couscous or potatoes and veggies. And then I'll use like foil packets for meat. The biggest tip that I have for someone who's making their own backpacking food, and this applies to both people who want to go the route of dehydrating all their food, as well as anyone who's just resupplying from a store and you're getting maybe like minute rice and beans and whatever else it is that you like to eat on trail. And that is to add condiments. So this can just be stuff like soy sauce packets. Um, Currently, my favorite one is True Lime. I use this both in a beans and rice recipe as well as in my pad thai recipe. And I found that for the pad thai, it really takes it from like being like pretty mid, where it's not bad. It's a solid meal, but it's maybe not the best thing that I've created. It takes it from like a 6 out of 10 to a solid 9 out of 10. So that's something that I'm definitely going to be bringing on the trail with me, because I'm sure that I can use it in other recipes as well. The other big one is bringing oil, specifically olive oil. I have these little tiny 15 milliliter dropper bottles that you can buy from Garage Grown Gear, and I have a video that I'll put up here that shows you those. And I use these little bottles to repackage olive oil so that I can add that to my food. This not only improves the taste, because olive oil adds a bunch of fats, which allow flavors to transfer to your mouth better, but it also increases the caloric density of your meal a lot. So if you're someone who struggles to eat a lot on trail and you struggle with calorie intake, this can be something that really helps you just bump up the density of your food a little bit. Comment down below what your favorite trail meal is, and if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, hit the like button, and also subscribe to my channel. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I'm going to be hiking the JMT this summer, and I'm going to have a bunch of videos about everything I'm doing to prepare, both in terms of just planning all the food, as well as the gear that I'm going to take with me on my trip. I'll see you all next time. Bye.